In this video, we want to sketch f of x is equal to 1 divided by the quantity x plus 3 squared plus 2. We want to use our parent function and knowledge of transformations rather than just making a table to try to sketch this graph. So to identify the parent function, you want to eliminate all of the values that cause the transformations, which would be the shifts or the reflections. In this case, you would ignore this plus 2 as well as this plus 3 because both of those values are going to be causing some shifts. And what's left is basically 1 divided by x squared. So that is going to be our parent function. Y equals 1 divided by x squared. And that is called the reciprocal squared function. So first, we want to visualize what the parent function looks like. Y equals 1 divided by x squared. And because we know that this function has asymptotes, we're not going to graph the parent function right on the grid that I've provided, but rather we're just going to sketch a little graph off to the side of what that parent function looks like, so we have a visual. We know that the parent function has a vertical asymptote of x equals 0 and a horizontal asymptote of y equals 0. And again, I've gone over why it has those asymptotes in a previous video. And then we want to look for 2 points that are exact points on the graph. And those are found most easily by just plugging in 1 to the function. So if we plug in 1, 1 divided by 1 squared gives us an output of 1. So we know we have this branch here in the first quadrant that goes through the point 1, 1 and the branches approach the asymptotes. And if we were to plug in negative 1 to the parent function, because we're squaring negative 1, that will also come out as a positive 1. So that gives us the second branch. And these 2 points that I'm putting on the parent function, although there are infinite points on this function, these 2 points are what I call the anchor points because they're the points that we're going to be able to figure out when we then move the graph and we shift or reflect, whatever the case may be. So there's our parent function. Now let's talk transformations. So going back and looking at the original function that we were given, we have this quantity x plus 3 squared. So that positive 3, because it's in parentheses with the x, that's impacting the x values, which makes this a horizontal shift. And because of the x plus 3, if you think about what value you would plug in for x, that would then produce out a 0. That would be a negative 3. So that is a shift left 3. So the x plus 3, that's in the quantity getting squared, that's going to be a shift to the left 3. And then we have this plus 2 out to the side, and that is going to be a vertical shift up 2. It's outside of the parent function, so it's impacting the y values of the parent function. That's why that's going to be a shift vertically, and it's a shift up 2 because it's positive 2. So to create our graph, we're going to actually start with the asymptotes. So beginning with our vertical asymptote, which used to be x equals 0 on the parent function, then we're going to take that asymptote and shift it left 3 and up 2. So if you were to go left 3, the vertical asymptote then would also shift left, and that would make our vertical asymptote the vertical line x equals negative 3. And if we take this vertical line and shift it up 2, the line doesn't change. So the shifting to the left of 3, that creates a new vertical asymptote, and it's a vertical asymptote of x equals negative 3. We'll do the same with the horizontal asymptote, which used to be y equals 0. So again, if you take that horizontal asymptote and shift it left, it won't change. But if you shift the asymptote up 2, it does change. The horizontal asymptote will get moved up 2, so we have a new horizontal asymptote, and this horizontal asymptote is the line y equals 2. So we have our new asymptotes from the transformations of left 3 and up 2. Now we just need to create our branches. And to do that, we are going to look at the anchor points on the parent function. So again, the anchor points used to be here at 1, 1, as well as negative 1, 1. And I like to look at these anchor points in relationship to the origin. So the origin used to be at 0, 0. So to get to that anchor point, we're going right 1 and up 1, as well as left 1 and up 1 to get to the 2 anchor points. So now looking at our new graph, look at where the asymptotes intersect each other. I'm going to draw a little blue cross here to show you. Here's where the asymptotes intersect. So we're treating this like it is our origin, like it's the old origin of 0, 0, but it's been moved left 3 and up 2. So from this new origin, we'll call it, we're going to travel right 1 and up 1 to get to an anchor point, and left 1 and up 1 to get to the second anchor point. So here's my new anchor points. And then that's all that I really need to plot, because I know that the shape of the graph is going to match the parent function. So I can go ahead and plot in 2 branches that approach the asymptotes, but they pass through these 2 anchor points. And I'm able to figure out where these anchor points are by looking at the parent function and where the anchor points were originally, and then we've moved everything left 3 and up 2. So this is sufficient for the graph. You don't have to have any more exact points. You just have to have your asymptotes plotted correctly, as well as the 2 anchor points, and then the basic shape, which comes from the parent function, which is 1 over x squared. The domain we can actually get from the original function itself. So looking at the original function, we know we have this denominator, we have a fraction, and the denominator of a fraction can never be 0. So that tells us that x cannot be -3. So the domain is all real numbers except for -3. So that's -infinity to -3 union -3 to infinity. That's going to be our domain. Now the range is all the y values. So you're thinking the lowest to the highest values on this entire graph. Looking at our graph, you'll notice the graph does not go down forever. If I were to actually trace this graph, I'll trace it in yellow. You'll notice that this graph cruises along its horizontal asymptote, which is y = 2, and then it goes up forever. So it's going to go up to positive infinity, and the same happens on the other side. It gets really close to y = 2, but then it goes up to infinity again. So that means that this graph never goes below the horizontal asymptote of y = 2. So our range will be from 2 to infinity, but we'll put a parenthesis on 2 because we're not going to include it, and that's because this graph never intersects the horizontal asymptote of y = 2. So the graph gets really close to 2, but it never actually touches 2, which leads us to our end behavior. The left side of the graph, as x is approaching -infinity, I'll circle the left side of the graph here, then you can see that the left side of the graph is leveling off and those y values are approaching 2. And the same is true for the right side. The right behavior of the graph, as x approaches positive infinity, which is the right side of the graph, the y values also level off at +2. So this end behavior supports what we knew the asymptote, horizontal asymptote was, which was y = 2, and that also then reinforces our range. Our range is from 2 to infinity.